Hi, guys. We are starting talk over the Galapagos Islands today, and a name that you will hear a lot is Charles Darwin. He is basically the father of evolution. But if we look at the notes for today, the key concept is that Darwin's voyage provided insight on evolution. Okay, and if you don't know, and I don't expect you to know a lot about Charles Darwin right now, this is what his voyage entailed. Okay, and you can see he traveled a lot of places, and obviously most of the world. But the place we focus on the most, and the place where he got a lot of his findings and where he studied, would be what we call the Galapagos Islands. And you can see that over here. It's on the western side of South America. Okay, so we're really going to focus on that. He observed differences among the island species. A lot of the words that you will hear, I feel like you've probably heard before. You just didn't realize that they could be applied in this situation. For instance, variation. So the word variation is, just think of the word variety. It is a difference in a physical trait. Okay. Two of the main species that he studied at the Galapagos Islands would be the Galapagos tortoises and the Galapagos finches. And a finch is a bird, if you did not realize that. The Galapagos tortoises live in areas with tall plants. And if that is the case, and obviously not all areas have tall plants, but if they were in an area with tall plants, they were found to have longer necks and legs. If you think about it, the taller a plant is, the harder it is for an animal to reach. So they, over time, is believed, went through evolution in their physical traits, and they their necks were extended and their legs were longer. The Galapagos finches, if they lived in areas with hard-shelled nuts, their beaks were stronger. We're actually going to do a lab this week where we talk about the different beak sizes and beak shapes of these finches to help you kind of put those things in perspective. Okay. An adaptation, if you adapt to something, it's your way of changing to better yourself. So it's a feature that allows an organism to better survive in its environment. Species are able to adapt to their environment. And again, we're going to do a lab this week over peppered moths. It's usually one of the favorites that a lot of people like, especially if you're autistic. And it will kind of help you better understand that concept. And adaptations can lead to genetic change in a population. And again, we'll revisit that. But if you think about it, and I know we've talked about it before, cardinals. The male cardinal is very bright red, and the female wants to mate with the brightest red cardinal. So over time, those duller male cardinals are going to basically die off, and the species will become more and more bright red. Okay, so that would be an example of that. Darwin observed fossil and geologic evidence supporting an ancient Earth. So Darwin found fossils of extinct animals that resemble today's animals. That would be modern. That's what that word means. And he also found fossil shells high up in the Andes Mountains, which means that obviously the animal traveled up there, and it allowed him to kind of put things in perspective that way. Okay, and then lastly, he saw land move from underwater to above sea level due to an earthquake. And this kind of exposed more fossils that he probably wouldn't have found before. And he extended his observations to the evolution of organisms as well. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. I know it's kind of quick, but we do, like I said, have a lot of labs this week that will help with that. And you also have a Charles Darwin web quest today to kind of help you understand his background and his life and where or why he kind of ended up in this situation and studying the things that he did. Okay, thanks, guys.